Adam Barris says Boston Whaler holds their value better than any other brand out there. I don't know if I think I'm actually going to disagree with you, Adam, on this note. Yes, Boston Whaler holds their value extremely well. They are in the top 5 of all boat brands that hold their value extremely well. Better than any other boat brand? I don't know if we can really throw the better than any other boat brand in there, simply because Grady White holds their value extremely well. Even some of the stuff from the 80s and the 90s is still holding up on the value. Contender is also a very, very high contender in the boat brand that holds their value extremely well. I mean, it's a very desirable boat. It's a very desirable hull, multiple different models. And then, CV, I'm going to throw CV up in that list as well because they hold their value really, really well. So would I agree with Boston Whaler holding their value better than any other brand? I don't think I would say that. I think that you could put in a basket all those boat brands and say, these are, if you want to buy a boat today, like if you went and bought a brand new boat today, or even like a 3-year-old boat, and you bought a Boston Whaler, a Contender, a Grady White, a CV, any of those, in 10 years from now, it's still going to have a lot of value. In 15 years now, going to have a lot of value. And even in 20 years, that boat is still going to hold its value regardless of the market conditions. I'm sure if you look at, I had another comment in here from somebody that was talking about this. Somebody in here said something about buying a boat and then it maintaining. Okay, Dennis, this is it. Dennis says, well-maintained boat price is constant through its life. If you paid $80,000 in 2005, it has been updated and well-maintained. It is probably worth around the same $80,000 now. That is for top-tier boats with good reputation. The equivalent boat from the same builder is most likely around $220,000 new in 2025. So talking about that 20-year span, I agree with it. I agree with Dennis to a point. Notice he says has been updated. Now, what does updated mean? Does that mean you repowered the boat or you rewired the boat? Like, if you repowered the boat, that's a whole different discussion because a good percentage of it is going to be, let's say it's got to be 30%, if not 40% in some boats of the boat's value is the engine package. So if you've got, let's say, a 21-foot boat with a 250 horsepower engine on it, the boat might be let's say $90,000. Well, the engine and the rigging is about $30,000. So you're roughly 33%, 35% in the value of the boat is in the engine. If you were to repower it, that value, like you just spent, let's say you bought the boat. What did he say? You bought the boat in 2005, you paid, $80 for it. Or even this one, the $50,000 more, what Willie's talking about, and you put $60,000 with 2 new engines on there. I mean, that's the updating there. That might throw in a little kink to the whole theory of it holding its value. But based on inflation, yeah, if you bought a boat for $100,000 today, in 20 years from now, a Parker, Boston Whaler, Contender, Grady White, CV, any of those boats are probably going to be $100,000 in 20 years from now. It probably will be pretty flat. You might need an engine package on there. So if you put $60,000 worth of engines on that boat, I mean, that needs to be factored into your calculation at some point in time because you got to spend that money at some point in time. But for the whole, holding their value, I'm going with that grouping of boats, not to say that one is going to hold their value better than another. And Willie B talking about is, the Parker being $50,000 more with the twin 200s. That's probably it. That's kind of why you buy a top tier boat. That's kind of part of the value. If you buy like a 3-year-old boat, let's say you buy Boston Whaler, Grady White, any of these top tier brands, the repower option is what's going to be the best for you because like he's saying, the 1720, let's say he's got a 2005 1720. That is an extremely solid boat. If it's been well maintained and the wiring hasn't gone down the drain, then you just repower that boat. It's like you got a brand new boat, you can get away with a lot. Like, let's say you take a Parker that's 15 years old, put a set of new engines on there. I mean, that hull is still a Parker hull. It's going to ride the same, it's going to perform the same, and it's going to be a really solid boat. Same thing for any of those other brands. If you buy a boat and you're in it for the long haul, like you want to hold it for 20 years, then you would buy the more expensive boat, the top tier boat, because then you could just repower it later on. You don't have to go out and buy a new boat. You don't have to, buy a boat for 80 grand and in 20 years, then go buy a boat for $250,000. If you could just spend, say, 80 grand and repower your boat, you're basically getting your boat brand new again, because the reliability of your boat, a lot of it has to do with the engine that you got on the boat. I mean, if you got a crappy engine, then, you're just going to get stranded regardless of what boat brand it is. Hey there, sorry to take you away from the video, but real quick, did you know that on average a boat owner will spend between $1,000 and $5,000 a year just on servicing their engine? And you could actually pocket and save a lot of that money if you would just do the service yourself. It might seem like a daunting task, but I guarantee you virtually everyone can do it with our guidance and the Boaters program. This is just one skill that you could learn inside the program, because we have hundreds of other videos teaching you all kinds of boating skills, as well as a weekly live stream where we have questions and answers with me, as well as a chat feature where you can send videos and pictures, ask all kinds of questions, or look for some advice or some guidance on a project that you're doing on your boat. You can join the program by hitting the first link in the description, clicking join, or visiting bornagainboating.com. Now back to the video.